IFSI, work in the city on Squad 5. Luckily, I'm on furlough, so I'm off today. Here to do Forcible Entry class. I see Cicero being very similar to Chicago as far as type of homes, type of buildings, type of response that you may go to. I don't know how you guys are for Forcible Entry, because I'll admit I'm pretty ignorant on your area. I just know my little world. How was it for you guys for Forcible Entry? Have many Forcible Entry problems here in Cicero? Scissor gates, anything like that in homes, bars?
The gates.
Yeah,
just
gates
wrought
and
iron fences.
Okay, because I know by us, we'll have them on apartments, on an interior bedroom doors of apartments, because they rent out the bedrooms in their apartment to other people. It's crazy. So this was put together initially for our department to go over Forcible Entry because I love my job. I think we're the best department in the nation. I hope you guys think the same of yours. But we got off the rig with a pick-headed axe and a pike pole for every call. Got off for a water rescue with a pick-headed axe and a pike pole. I'm not sure if the pick-headed axe was for the pike pole I got, but that's what we got. So Halligan bars came around. They were kind of foreign to our department. Why would we use them? New York kind of hit the ground running with them from Hugh Halligan, who invented a Halligan bar from who? A crook. Found it in a call. Saw the Halligan bar or some portion of it. That's how the criminals were getting in, because evidently they figured out better ways to get into places than we do, so they pulled off that. So from that, we figured, hey, we need to kind of update our guys on Forcible Entry and some better and more effective ways to get in. That's how the program kind of started and evolved. And we've been going out teaching. It's been well received. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. With me today, I have two other partners. Go ahead and introduce yourself. I'm not going to.
M Berk, I'm from full-time in Floss Point. I got about 15 years in the fire service. I love my job, and hopefully I can share something I know with you guys.
Jeff Warner, Frankfurt, is here to help these two.
Okay. Me, I know nothing, and I'm not here to help at all. I guess that's what these guys are for. So I just like to talk, I guess. All right. Forcible Entry. We're going to blow through some stuff because you can just sit in the classroom so long you can read yourself, so we don't need to. The important part is what we do on the doors and the stairs. Before we go much further, what kind of Halligan bars do you have here? Do you know? Is it a Pro bar or is it the Paratech bar? Is it the big fat one that's pinned together, or is it a one welded piece?
We have a mix.
We have a mix. Okay, it'd be great if we can get one of each when we're down there. There's some really huge flaws with the Paratech one.
Which is hinged?
Which is pinned.
Okay.
Yes. Due to the size and configuration of the heads itself, the curvature of the forks and the adze, and the pike itself. Where the other one is your better tool if you can use it. If not, your department buys what they buy, you have to use it, oh well, you're kind of screwed. But if you had a choice, we'll maybe hopefully show you why you'd rather pick the one over the other if you can. Doors and things, what do we need to know about doors, plain and simply, is how they swing, right? How do we know that when we walk up to a door?
Hinges.
Hinges, right? If I see the hinge, what does that tell me?
It opens.
If I can see the hinge and it's out, the door swings out, right? If the hinge is in, the door swings in. How about when it's 2:30 in the morning, smoky, and we can't see them down the hallway? Can you tell by feel? How about recessed or not? When you run your hand along the wall, that's not recessed, right? The door's out, swings out. I like that real stupid, easy stuff to remember because I'm ignorant. Yet if I run my hand along that jamb and it goes in a little bit off the jamb, the door swings in. Why? Because someone said, how can you tell at night or when it's smoky and dark? I thought, why would you do that? I just look. Me, a young, ignorant fireman, that had me, and I'm like trying to fumble around looking for a hinge that wasn't there. I was ignorant that day. Type of doors and doors constructions. Homes, residential homes, you may see some of these hollow core doors, right? If you do, just remember where you want to force these doors. On the edges, right? What happens when you kick a booted door that's a hollow core door? The foot tends to go through, your foot's stuck in it and really didn't open at all. Okay, so if you have to force a door like that with a tool, you want to stay on the edge itself. Your solid core doors, no big deal. They can take a pounding. You probably use a tool as well. These here are just for your barn or shed type doors. Probably won't run into. Thanks, Brett. The other types of door, metal. We're going to see metal and wood are the two most common ones you see. You may see a wood door with a metal frame, as you see here, or you may see the metal frame itself with a metal door. Tubular ones, real common in storefronts. I've seen storefronts when I drove here this morning, all up and down 25th, and you name it. You know, they have the tubular framing. What's our easiest way in those doors usually? Break the glass, right? But then what's a problem we may have? The glass being in the way, and what guys want to do, and that was me because I'm ignorant and lazy, they tend to go in and duck under that hardware, that bar that's in the way. I'm sure you've seen a ton of videos on YouTube, you name it. What happens when things go bad quickly? Everyone's got to bail out. What do they get caught up on? that bar. So if you have to break the glass, if that's your move, great, break the glass. Reach in and unlock the door if you can, if it's not a double key, or break the bar out. Which the bars sometimes are a pain in the butt. They're actually in there pretty secure with some of the hardware there, and you can sit there and beat on it, sometimes they don't come right off. So maybe easier to cut them off. As far as cutting off on your tubular doors, what's another option we can do right here besides breaking the glass? K-tool, awesome. K-tool's professional firefighter's tool. Everyone here a professional firefighter? No? We pretend we are, right? We pay our union dues. We're part of the international. So okay, yeah, that counts. But how about in the street? You can use a K-tool and pop that cylinder and throw the latch. You can re-secure it. You go home. The property owner's happy, and then maybe when you're coming up for a contract or something like that, you might get some support as compared to we just go and break everything out like we sometimes tend to do. If that's not an option, how about taking your K950 right between the slit in the door here and just cut the throat? Options, right? You can use your Halligan bar, you can use a K-tool, you can use your saw. Plan A, B, and C. That's forcible entry. What can I use? What's on my rig? What's on my engine or truck? What's my plan A, B, and C? What's not working? What will work? What's an alternative? Metal doors, okay? Always want to look for the hinges like we talked, but here, which door is easier or harder to get in here? This one, right? You guys agree with that? Metal doors can also be hollowed as well, but they'll have a ribbing system in it. Usually it won't affect you too much. As you pry on this door, you'll probably feel some flexion. As you try to work there, it won't be as stiff as some other ones. Talking about jam types. There's two jam types you're going to see. Rabbited and stopped. Rabbited is what you see right here. They got metal frames with a metal stop. It doesn't come off. The rabbited ones that you see up here, stopped ones you see up here, that's like at home, where you nail a piece of trim on, you pop the trim off. Just know the difference. Why? I pop the trim off, I put my shove knife or a little screwdriver, I'm in like nothing, no big deal. Other differences too, with a rabbited jam, it's one piece construction. There's just showing examples of it. And per examples, the doors right here. Those are rabbited jams. Door swings, we already talked about. We can tell by looking at these ones in and ones out. Would you agree with that? Okay. Does one door look harder or easier to get in just from looking at it? Yeah, right? They're both in a masonry type structure, some type of ordinary building. But here's got glass. If I can't easily separate it, can I break the glass and reach in? We're not an option here. Other thing, two options we talked about. What do you see? Talking about lock assemblies. I'm going to fly through this, guys. If I'm going too fast, and stop me. I know you guys want to sit here for hours. Different type of locks, okay? Real common you see at home, key and knob. Rim lock, you see many of these around your area anymore, these two? Those are the older homes, right? I know by us, the old ordinary homes or the brownstones on the boulevard, we see a lot of these. Old wooden homes with custom doorways. Nice thing about these is this throw on this is usually next to nothing. Next to nothing getting the door, and you're probably booting it anyways, if you had to. But even if you even got a fork or an adze in, a slight move with an axe head, you're in. This here, this one sets a different problem than these here, because that's a rim lock, right? It's got rings on one side that comes over and a pin goes through. Well, is there anything there to separate? No. You're not separating the door and a jam, are you? No, you're pretty much getting the screws to fail. You have to actually get that to rip off the door or the jam itself. So just understand what kind of lock you have and how to get in may help you a bit. Bottom one, exit hardware. Some of these aren't too bad to get in, to be honest with you. With a Halligan bar, you usually can get the door to flexing up, because that latch is kind of like on an angle. It's like almost like a pie shaped, and as you push it in, the latch closes, and there's usually a roller that it hits. You get it to go just enough, usually it pops open. It's not hard. Besides that, there are other tricks to reach in with maybe metal, something.
512.
What's that?
512.
Just showing a key and knob. What do we care about this? The throw. 3/4 of an inch or less. Not much of a throw yet to defeat. Here's the ones we were talking about. On a rim lock, not much of a throw to defeat. Okay, on this one, we're getting it to fail. There's nothing to separate in the door itself. We're getting the screws to fail. Deadbolts. Newer deadbolts have changed as far as throw and construction feature and how well they work. Okay, here's more of your commotion grade. Here's here. That throw can be anywhere from 1 inch to 1.25 inches. So a little bit more of a throw into a jam itself. So I'm trying to get those doors open for me. I already kind of know how far I got to separate. If you know how your Halligan's made, you know how far your forks or adze got to be in, and as soon as you pry up or down or prying it out, you already know you defeated it. Combination of the two together. Here's showing the older doors here with the deadbolt built in. Here's an old door. Look how far that throw comes out. It's like next to nothing, okay? And look how much edge there is here of the door material. Odds are you may even get the door to split and you're in. Not a big deal if you have some of these in your areas. You guys got anything? Jump in. I'm going like Jimmy John, speed pretty fast. So
Usually those mortise locks.
yes, sir.
They're in the old panel doors. So in other words, your outside is a 2x6. It's mortised in. Your inside's a 1/4 inch veneer panel. Knock out the center panel, walk right in.
Walk right in.
You don't wanna fuck those things up though.
But if it's a fire,
So-
it's already messed up, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's easy to fix to put that center panel back in. You
Take some
plug the
trim
outside
off,
of
put the
door.
panel in.
Yeah, it's easy.
This is showing a commercial lock where they have the guard so that you can't pick it. No big deal, still a larger throw with your deadbolt, that's about an inch throw. Other options, panic hardware, different locks, slide bolt that goes up and down here. These are your harder doors. These are really the doors we're talking about forcible entry. Most people don't have problems with residential doors. Do you guys have any of the security storm doors here? Yeah. Those are almost more of a pain to get into some residential doors, depending on the throw and how they're done and what deadbolts there are. With these things, what I don't like about these doors is the backside, the outside where I'm standing. Because what do I usually see?
A lip.
Maybe
Yeah,
a
center
lip,
lip.
a carriage bolt, or nothing. It's the doors I see nothing that are your problems, because I don't know what's there. They could back a forklift up against the door, a couple pallet jacks or something, who knows what. Those are the doors that could be your problems. When I see a door like this, when I see carriage bolts or I see something, those are indicators of where I probably want to start my operation. Padlocks. There's so many different types. How much time are you going to spend on it? There's different ways to get in. You can use the forks, spin the lock. But if there's no room to get the Halligan on, how can I spin it? Okay, you can use the pick end. Get a sledgehammer, hit the pick. Bolt cutters, saws, a lock breaker. Who knows? You may have something else on your apartment. Other different locks out there. As we started to cut these, they go, all right, we got to build better locks, right? The earring nut lock, the teardrop, the shielded ones. These are harder to get in as far as getting your tool around. Those may be some of the locks we're going to have to use a power saw on. If you can't get a tool around or into where these areas are, or we hit your cut. Hockey puck lock, can you guys see these around? Well, you're starting to see now, they're definitely on work vans. I had them on my work van. Still didn't stop them getting in, the bastards. They go through the license plate area. So they can still get in, but if you want to cut these, you make a cut right here. You make a cut across, lock's defeated, it drops. Where you're starting to see some of these now, do you guys have any storage units here, like self-storage or anything like that?
Yeah.
People are starting to put them on them. What's hard about those is, where's that lock at? They roll the door down, right? Sometimes it locks all the way down the ground, and they put the lock on. You can't get a saw down there because of the shroud or the bell drive. What's that?
Yeah,
So-
like,
Right, so there's not much room. So you may have to cut the roll-up door in that case, or you can maybe cut the lock, depending on lock positioning. Best way to cut these, this is what they used to say, buy the hockey puck lock breaker. Someone probably went to FDIC and sold this for a lot of money, just like a pipe wrench with a cheater on it. Like, here, I got the hockey puck lock breaker. Give me $80 and I'll give you this tool, which you can get for probably $20 at Home Depot. But really, the easiest way is 3/4 of the way up right here where it says Series 2000. If it isn't this type of lock, about 3/4 of the way up, make a cut. What you'll end up doing is you'll cut here, the pin will fail, or you'll cut it completely in half. It's a way to get in. So a K950 works very well on that with a metal blade, or 7,800, I don't know what you have, whatever. But still, your rotary saw will work very well in these locks.
Richie just said something real important, like with find the weakest link, what you're trying to do. Everybody gets zoned in on a lock sometimes. If it's the cheap door, or the cheap chain, or the cheap something, attack that. Don't get so zeroed in on just the lock itself, like the padlock or whatever. Like you said, the license plate.
What is ultimately the golden rule of enforcement? What they tell you, where's my new guys here? Right? You three, what or you four? What's the golden rule of forcible entry? Try before you pry, right? Have you ever done that? You ever go up and start beating on the door and someone comes up and opens up and you feel like the biggest horse's ass?
Sure.
I have. How about you force a door, you don't take control of it. I forced the door open, it was an apartment building for high-rise fires. So metal door, metal frame, swang open, hit the back wall, and then what do you think it did then? It's out center, boom! Slam shut again. Awesome. You know, worked so hard to get in, and that's what happened. So, we're going to talk about the golden rule: always try before you pry. The other thing is, and which Jeff just brought up, and thank you, it will come up on the slide. What's the linkless link? You'll see this big, massive, shiny, pretty lock, Master Series 80 million, whatever, and it's got some 10-cent screw hole in place. So don't worry about the throw. Maybe we're going to defeat the screw. Maybe we're going to defeat the door. Maybe there's another way in. Maybe I cut the wall next to the building because it's a wood frame building. I cut it with a chainsaw and I'm in. I mean, who cares about the door? Size up for doors. Like anything we do on a job, there's a size up for forcible entry. There really should be a size up. Swing of door, construction of door, kind of locking devices are on it. Check that door for heat, Tim. Check it. See how everyone knows that. Everyone laughs about it. Everyone knows. Check the door for heat. Check resistance. You ever hear of shocking a door? Talk about shocking a door. We'll go up to a door and we'll show you downstairs. You're going to hit the door, top, middle, low. Everyone's like, what are you doing that for? There's a couple purposes in that. One, checking the integrity of the door. If I go up and I hit a door and I hit the top and the door flexes a little bit, is there anything there locking it? So it probably doesn't have a drop bar anywhere. I hit the bottom, in the middle, it's solid as can be. I know that's where my locking mechanism is. Hit the bottom and it flexes again, I'm good. I've gone up to a door, or our company has, you hit everywhere, this son of a bitch doesn't move. We kind of know we're in for a bad day here. I mean, we're going to take some work here. Forcible entry with standard traditional tools like a Halligan and a sledge might not be enough. We might need that saw, we might need the torch, we might need a hydraulic tool, I don't know. But checking the door, shocking it, gives us a little integrity to the door, where it's locked at. The other thing it does sometimes on the door is you hit it pretty hard, you might get the door to bow a little bit. Just along the edge. It might create a little bit of a purchase point or a gap for you to get in the door. Talk about sound and door, try before you pry, talk about that. You may find a $100 lock with a 10-cent screw, we talked about that. Other ways of forcible entry. Okay? Why do we do this? Because this guy right here, Hugh Halligan. If you have any Halligans around here with this marked on it, this AMDG, they're worth some money, so look through your rigs. Right?
Don't say that.
I'm telling you. And if I did, I'll trade you right now. I got one in the car. We'll trade.
Yeah, I already got one.
Who's got one?
I already got one.
Son of a
I
bitch.
got,
All right.
They go about $2 grand a piece.
$2,000.
So, and there's people.
I'm
out
not
there
kidding you.
for it.
That's big money.
It's an
What's that?
original. It's a
That's the original bar.
That's an original bar. Actually, this is a second generation. The first generation on the top, where it says Halligan on the top fork, he actually has his signature on the original bar. So this is a generation 2, and generation 1 is what goes for a ton of money, and that's about $2 grand. And there's guys that I have one in my garage, and guys.
What's your address again?
1022.
All right. I'll get his address later. I'll split it with you.
But it's a huge piece of history in the fire service because this Chief Halligan was one of the, he was the guy that did this. He set the forcible entry in motion for the fire service. So, and his own department wouldn't even let him use the bar on his job. So.
Yeah, when he came up with this bar, they thought this guy's an idiot. Yeah, okay, we know what we're doing. Thanks a lot, new guy or whoever. Thanks, Chief. We got it. But since then, it's evolved to where it is today.
Otherwise, we steal it.
Key to the city. With this bar, you can probably get in almost any place. It may take you a little more work or less, depending on the door, the construction, and all that other nonsense. Some terminology you want you to know, and there's a specific reason why. We've got to talk about the pick and the adze. What we're going to talk about next here, though, is the neck and the shaft. Shaft's the handle, that's where you hold. But why we care about the neck? Because when it's 2:30 in the morning, you're in a smoky hallway, and I tell you to drive, and you're driving the adze end into a door, how do I know when to stop? I can't see. I may have my flashlight literally this close trying to see, and I still can't see. Well, if I say drive, and you drive to the neck, can I feel that landmark with a gloved hand? I can. That's a good reference mark for me. I know if I bury my adze all the way to the neck, odds are it's going to be around the door, around the edge of the door, and past the jamb. I reached my point where I want to be, if I'm for sure there. If I only go about 3/4 way or maybe an inch in, did I catch the back edge of the door? Did I get around the jamb? That's when you go to pry, and what happens? Boom, it slips out every time. You drive to the neck, you can do chin-ups off the freaking bar. you know you're at your spot. You got a good purchase point. The other thing, concave and bevel, great. Know that there's a difference. One gives you a little bit more mechanical advantage. One gives you around the door better. I am not going to stand here or downstairs and say this is the only way you force a door or one way is better than the other. That is false statement. It's what works for you. It's what gets in. What is wrong is when you see a guy put the Halligan bar in a door and he starts prying like this to open a door that swings in. All he's trying to do is compress the whole door. Got to think of the mechanical advantage that you're trying to use down there. That's what would be wrong. But whether you go forks in, forks out, or bevel in, bevel out, adds, forks, I don't care. If you get in, that's the home run. The also part of it is if one way is not working for you, switch it up. Try something different. There's nothing wrong. Don't get the tunnel vision. There's a guy I worked with. He forced every door with the ads. That's it. Everything had to be with the ads. Everything. There was a day we couldn't get in a door, and it's like, let's try some. No, I got it. 15 minutes later, we're still jacking around with a door with just the ads in. Okay, there are other ways to skin a cat. Important terminology here. Two things, the shoulder and the crotch. Some Halligan bars, they let anybody in this place. Anybody in here, yep. They got the shoulder and the crotch. What some Halligan bars will have done to them, if you'll see, these are rounded, some are square. Some people will square the shoulder of their Halligan, so when you're operating by yourself, one person if you had to, you could slide your tool along the shaft and hit the shoulder and drive it in. When they're rounded like this, it just veers right off. Hopefully you're not by yourself, you should be, but if you had to do a one-man operation somewhere, for whatever reason, hey, go to the rear real quick, do this, it could be a difference. Crotch. The crotch is important because that's that other landmark for when I'm forcing a door, how far I want to drive. If I'm hitting on the ads end to drive my forks in around the edge of a door or drive it somewhere, I want to drive it till the crotch is at the door. When I do that, same as before, I know I'm in it far enough, I should be around the edge of the door in the jam. That's also one of those things I can feel in the dark with a gloved hand on when I can't see or do anything else. Just difference in Halligan bars. Here's an older version. Here's a newer version. Look at the thickness. Plus and minus the two, right? This could probably get some really tight openings right away, where this could not. But as I drive in, where am I getting more of a mechanical advantage? The top one. So, traditional irons, these tools are the ones you want. You know, whether it be a flathead axe, a sledge, a maul, something to strike with your Halligan. That's what you're looking for. Something that happens by us still, there's guys that just can't let go of that pick-headed axe. That's the tool. They're always going to grab that pick-headed axe. So when they go with a Halligan bar, guess what they bring with them? Pick-headed axe. How many spots do I have to hit, man? Pick-headed axe.
One.
Maybe two, right? Maybe if the two sides, sideways, which gives you nothing, or like a battering ram. Nowhere near the force or power that you can have on a sledgehammer, a sledge, or a true flathead axe. Bars for taking care of the tools, something we just throw in here. When you throw them on a grinder to clean up their edges, you can change the tempering of the tool itself, okay? The heat transfer you get when you really heat up can affect it. If you got some burrs, some nicks, use a file to clean them down if you can. Back to the other tools we use, hydraulics. Would you ever use this for forcible entry, you think?
Yeah.
You had to, right? If I had to. I got a roll-up garage door, I can't get up. I made my cuts like they said, here and here, and one in the center, pull out the slats, saw this video online for whatever. You did all that, they ain't going in. Maybe you have to use something else. Problem with these things, are they right there on the scene right away? Are they right there? Does most people get off work and say, hey, let's grab the spreaders for this one? No, who says that? I mean, it doesn't happen. So, but if you get back there now you say, holy Christ, look what we got, then you maybe call for that. Do you guys have any cutting torches on any of your apparatus? Okay. So if you had those are those extra things we may need that no one normally brings off. You'd have to call for it.
Do you guys carry the rabbit tool or hydro ram?
Rabbit tool.
Both? Rabbit tool?
Rabbit tool?
You can actually use it on that Flossmore door. So if you guys want to try that while we're down there, try it. The biggest thing is know its limitations. The limitations of 4 to 6 inches spread, about 10,000 pounds of pressure. We snapped the head off a hydro ram. They just sent it back to New York. So.
And what else do you have to have when you're using a rabbit tool? You have to have a rabbit jam, right? You use it on a door that swings out towards you. Do you have a rabbit on that? Is there a rabbit jam? That's about the only thing you
Yep.
can do with it, right? And you're probably gonna bust the tips off, right? So you gotta be real careful with that. Make sure that you have a rabbit jam. That's why it's the rabbit.
What's that?
I mean, it's all.
But those tips are really
What'd you have,
flimsy
brother?
on those.
No, he's right. We got the rabbit about.
Yep. They work well. What's the downfall to that compared to hydroram? You guys know what a hydroram is? It's basically this piece attached right to here, so there's no hose. It's just one handheld unit, which works great because it's a one-person operation. You don't need one person to hold the tool, another person to pump. Also, there's a downfall with this rabbit tool. Will that rabbit tool work if you have the pump in any position? It won't.
It's gotta be vertical.
It's got to be flat and level or pointing down. If I take that pump and pull it up like this to pump, and the hose goes like this, it will not pour fluid up. Can't do it. It doesn't have the ability. So now you're in a smoky hallway, you're down, you're pumping. Son of a bitch, this thing's broke. You throw it down, you grab your tools, bring it up. You go to find out there's nothing wrong with it. Know what happens to our job? These are stored in a bag together that doesn't fit together. So you have to disconnect both. So they disconnect the both, and then they leave the bleeder valve open. So they go to put it together. They either don't have it snapped right or not. This son of a bitch broke. Oh wait, no, I don't have it clicked. Pumping away. No, this ain't working. Oh wait, the bleeder valve's open. Okay, now we're in business. Then what do? They're holding it pointed up. They can't pour fluid. Like, really? Know the limitations of the tool. It works well. Now, how do you overcome a one-man operation? We'll show you a picture coming up with that. K950, that's just what we have. That's a type, whether it's a still, whether it's a partner, Husqvarna, whatever. When you're cutting metal doors, if you were to give it full throttle and put the saw in the door, what tends to happen? Does it walk all over, right? If you push it hard and fast like you think it's a wood roof, what happens? It may either bury it or bounce off or damage something. You can't just bury a metal blade into a metal door. Slowly feather the trigger, bring up the RPM. You might have to actually groove what you're gonna cut to get that purchase point per se, okay? You give it a full RPM and bury it in, you could have it happen. We had by us where they did that, and they didn't see the fissure cracks. They buried full throttle into a hinge. The blade shattered, broke off the shroud, knocked the belt off. The guy's lucky he isn't dead. The pieces went flying fast. I also will say there's probably some poor maintenance on our part. We probably didn't do a thorough or good inspection of that blade itself. When we took it back and looked at the blade, you can see fissure cracks from the relief holes in the blade. Shame on us. How about the abrasive blades? Another thing we're awesome for. We'll store these blades with the saw with the can of fuel. What do you think fuel does to these blades? Yes, corrodes them or deteriorates them. Damn, nice one. I gotta use that in a sentence. All right, I'm gonna use that one, right? All right, so something to think about. Guess where our blades are still fucking stored? Sorry, the chief's gonna call me for swearing. Yeah. All right, guess where our blades are still stored? Same compartment. Awesome.
Guys, the other thing about the saws too is remember they're running about 5,400 RPM, so they can really hurt us. The other thing you need to do is make sure you have the right blade for the right saw. If you got a 5,400 RPM saw and you put a blade that's not rated for it, it's gonna break down. So whoever's purchasing your stuff, make sure they're purchasing the proper equipment to go with that equipment.
Would it say right on there?
Yeah.
The blade will tell you, when I worked in Wheaton on our truck, they bought this cool diamond blade saw and it was rated at 4,600 max RPM. Well, the saw operates at 5,400 RPM. And nobody really put two and two together, and we went up onto a metal deck roof to start cutting for training, and that saw blade just started working itself, and then eventually it was like, whoa, and it was about to come off.
Yeah, your saw should be marked on at the RPM. I know the K950s partners are typically 5,400 RPM. The Husqvarnas are right around there as well.
Okay.
I'm not sure what all the stills are, but then you got to check: is it a K950, a K750, what model? There is a different RPM. It should be somewhere on there, or you can do a search with the serial number of the saw itself, as well as your blade should have it marked on there, just so you know.
You said 54?
Normally, but we'll look.
Generally,
Wait, we'll
yeah.
grab one. We'll look. I don't care. We'll do whatever you want. It's your tools. You want to get out and we'll take a look, please do. Because God forbid if it protects a brother from getting hurt, all for it. Take a look. It's worth it.
That's the biggest thing I've seen when going around and doing what I do, is that people don't have the right blade on the right saw. So, God forbid, we don't want anybody to get hurt. So if we can stop that.
And that's a preventable one. That's a stupid one, right? Just take a look. There's accidents that happen. They're accidents. So what can we do? This we can prevent. We could have prevented this thing shattering that day on us by the tactics we're using and a little bit better maintenance on our end. I mean, new guys, hate to tell you, it's falling on you. These guys aren't checking the saw blades. You're gonna have to do it right. Other tools. You ever see a lock breaker? We had one made for our rig. Actually, I stole this from a buddy of mine. Lou Lakes had it made and took it from his house and took a picture of it with our Squad 5 sticker on it and sent it back to him. The picture, that is, not the tool. So of course I got it. Works great, but this is also the thing that sits on our rig like this, the K tool, and I don't get off the rig when I go to a commercial instructor and go, wow, let me grab that lock breaker. Odds are we're grabbing Halligan's or we're grabbing a metal cutting saw, maybe a Hydra Ram or a rabbit tool. That's like our SOP for the guys in the back rig on the snorkel, that we're the rear guys. That's our job. We go to the rear. That's our complement of tools. The guys in front will figure out their thing. That's what we bring. So we have plan A, B, and C. Now, why would I go back to this? I'm probably not gonna. Just like all this other stuff, unless I had a reason, an indicator. I've been there before in an ambulance going, hey, we ever get a call here, this is a great place to bring that chainsaw. A cordless grinder. You got a cordless grinder, 18-volt battery, whatever, you have something like that. Maybe we bring that, we cut the chain, we cut the lock. There's a lot of options, but you don't get off the rig, so we're gonna get off the rig with 80,000 pounds on us. I'm short and fat and out of shape. I don't want to carry extra stuff. I don't have to. I want to use the right tool and be smarter about it. I'm not really that fat, am I? Appreciate it. I know we're those CrossFit guys here. They were here last time. Those CrossFitters, right?
Come on, Kyle, raise your hand.
Oh, there you always time, man.
Oh, raise the other hand. Raise the other hand.
Get some squats in, some burpee thrusters, yellow breaths. All right.
Yes, blasters.
I gotta go today, so I gotta go. I can't help it. All right. I just don't look like it. I don't drink like it. I do it until I can drink more on weekends. All right.
What's the water, bro?
Ignore him, Kyle.
So, all right, we're off the tracks. Excellent. Other specialty tools. These are capabilities that our department has. What does yours have? You said you don't have torches. Does any mutual aid coming in? Who's your mutual aid? Berwyn, right? Oak Park? No calling one? Kind of like us? Get a bunch of dicks. All right. No, I didn't say that, Chief. Did not say that. All right. Kind of like us, right? Well, actually, we're getting to the point now. We're actually changing. But if you had to, you have that odd building. What was that? The big fire at the warehouse not long ago. Sub-zero weather. A lot of maybe force one. Maybe that is those times. So just throw it in the back of the mind. Don't throw it out. You may need it. If you know a town had some torches or had things that we may need, we have a long, extensive forcible entry problem. Something to think about. And what's the difference between this to this to this? Heat transfer, right? Heat transfer from this, any vibration? Any vibration on these? Not much with this. Not much vibration, but heat transfer. So do I got to cool the material down with a hose stream, with a hand pump, or an APW, whatever. What are your options? Pulling the lock with a K tool. Okay, the K tool goes over. You pry down or up. Do you pry up or down? What's the difference? Is there a difference?
You get better striking distance going down.
Get better striking distance going down, but do I pry up or do I pry down once I get to this point?
Down.
Do I pry up or down? It depends how this is positioned. See this stem here?
Well, a short guy pry down.
I am. I'm going to right. That or if it's really low, I just stand up, right? But depends on the stem. This is the bottom of the lock. What happens if you tend to pry up, this tends to come out and clear. When you pry down, sometimes it snaps right. Not necessarily true always, but it kind of depends on the configuration of the locker. If you pry up or down, it's probably going to work. Just know that sometimes it's going to be on your body position. You're right. I'm probably not going to pry going up if the lock's this tall. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to pry down. If it's a shorter lock, it's easy for me to squat down and just stand up, and vice versa for different body size. Once we do this, are we done? This is the key right here. That's the home run move. You pull out the locking cylinder. I don't have it. I don't know if we have one. I don't know if we have anything. Nah. I don't think I have anything with me. Once you pull the cylinder, and I'll see if I can get up on the video. But you look inside there, there's going to be a little ball. It's almost like a double ball bearing or half a ball bearing. You push this little thing down, and you throw the latch. That's what that key tool's for. Using a K tool and pulling the cylinder is half the battle. That's no big deal. You can spin them off with a pliers sometimes or with a vice grip if you take a torch and bend it. Because how can I grab a torch when the cylinder's almost flush against the door and you got a gloved hand? How fat your hand with a glove? You can't get against the door to squeeze, right? You're almost on an angle, you get not much of a bite. If you can take that same tool, heat it up and bend it so the head stays here and the handle's here, Now you can get a real good bite, spin off that lock. Either way, if you spin the lock off or pull it, you have to use that key tool to throw a latch that's inside her. Then you can relock it and go home and done. Take the meat slicer like we did one time, I think at McDonald's or Burger King, you know.
We got caught.
Yeah. That makes two. Yeah, we gave it back, though, it was cool. Chain link fences. This sounds stupid. We have a lot of chain link fences by us, right? Backyards, people want to protect their stuff, especially in the crappier neighborhoods or lower income neighborhoods. I'll be politically correct. A lot of chain link fences. I come up with this thing's locked and chained. I don't have much room to work. How hard is it for me to get in this gate? What's that? Pop the hinge, right? Pop the hinge up, pop the hinge down, whatever. I can even secure it. It's a home run move. There you go. Did you see this video? I think you put it together. Nicely done. All right. That's a home run move. Pop it up and down. Problem is when you get to your bigger fences and gates, you ever see them? They almost got like a U-clamp on them. That isn't going to work in those scenarios. Other forcible entry problems, scissor gates. This is an odd one. This is actually in a roller in a track. Most normal scissor gates just go up and down. Let's see if they come to it.
A lot of times it's easier just to break the hinge side loose.
Break the hinge side loose? Because what usually holds this metal track into the jam?
Lag bolts.
Lag bolts, right? It's a wooden structure, it's a lag bolt. If it's a ordinary structure, there's still some type of lag or anchor in the masonry, in the mortar joint. You can take your Halligan or your sludge, break the joint, and you get that hinge side to come loose. This is showing all the ways to get through locks earlier or locks on a scissor gate. Break it off with the pick, right? Smash through. Put the forks on and spin it. Once again, how much room do I need to spin a 30-inch Halligan bar? I need at least 30 inches all around, right? And if I don't have the ability to turn around or it slips off, may not always be your best move, but a move. Maybe I try that. Maybe I try that first because it's a cheap lock, no big deal. I don't have a guy with me to strike at the time. Here's you showing how to defeat it by spinning. This is what this is showing. On locks, they have heel and toe shackles, meaning the shackle must be cut on both sides because it won't spin out. I just cut both sides all the time. It's your home run move. Because if you only cut through real quick, you go to spin it and it won't spin, it's because it has this kind of configuration. Just cut both through all the time and you're done. That's showing the lock breaker splitting a lock. It works great if you bring it. I'm not carrying that in my tool belt with me or in my pocket. Not happening. Try to break hinges on gates. Pry up. We talked about that already. And ornamental stuff. You have some of these. These are sometimes harder to get in than the door itself. Because if it's in a masonry building, an ordinary constructed building, you got a deadbolt in the knob. The deadbolt's thrown in, there's not enough room for play. Okay, the other thing is too, once you get it open, what do you do once you get this open? You take it off, completely remove it, or you fight with it? A lot of guys try to put a wedge there, or a piece of chalk, or block it open. Tends to get knocked out. I know for what my experience has been, it just seems like it's knocked out. I don't know if there's someone just jagging me, and they do it on purpose, or just as a fact the hoses come in. People hit the door, it flexes, it moves. Your home run move is to take the door off. Problem with this is it's a solid piano hinge all the way down, right? Yeah. So it's screwed in all the time. Odds are you end up taking out the brick mold with it. It's not an easy task, but if you can start working at one point at the bottom, either top or the bottom, start getting this separate, you'll almost get the brick mold to separate off the jam itself easier than getting this little hinge and all those screws to pull out. How about this stuff? What is that? I don't know, they had Ed at the old welding fabricating shop in the corner make it. I can't see what I got there. One of these ones when we had it was an iron pipe going through with a lock through it. Couldn't even see it. We worked quite some time to get in. Okay? Now granted, how about this one? What's securing this whole frame in here? What did you say earlier? You said those little points, right? That may not be a lag bolt in wood, but still a lag bolt in a mortar joint. Can I take my sledgehammer, crack that, weaken it up? Drop bars. This is what we were talking about earlier. When I go to the back of a commercial structure, I see this stuff. Excellent. I know what's there. How about someone's residential home? This is actually a guy that's going to be around Larry McCormick's home, so you can jag me as a hillbilly. That's how he locked his basement door. How do you get in that? Do I know that from outside? Absolutely not. That's where that shock in that door will let me know that there should be some flexion when I hit the door up top there. Would that make sense? There's nothing there anchoring it. Here in the middle, the door's going to be solid. There would be no movement. So when I use my Halligan bar, my sludge, or whatever I'm using to pop that door to shock it, I'll kind of give me an idea of where it's locked at, where I'm going to have to work. Usually a good rule of thumb is 6 inches above or below the newest lock installed. We've had doors, there could be 3 deadbolts. They just never took the old one out. They lost the key, so they put a new one on. There's another deadbolt. Odds are the newest one's the most fortified with the deepest throw. Here, that's probably telling her some type of panic hardware or maybe some type of drop bar. Okay, why is that important to know? What are my options for getting in this door? What's that? All right, so cut the hinges, okay? So I'm going to cut the hinges. How would you cut the hinges, if you don't mind me asking?
You use Halligan or default.
Okay, and would you just cut like straight down, like on the side like this? Or would you do a little V cut, or what would you do? Just cut them all? So come here and cut, right? Now, what happens now some days? Some of those hinges have little tampers in it. You ever see a hinge? They got a little tab in it, legs each way, so when the hinge is shut, the door won't slide past each other. The other thing is, that door is still fitting in a pocket, right? I still have to get a tool in there to get it to separate, to get it to swing out. Because it ain't just going to come out. The door's this thick and it's in a jam that's this thick. You're still going to have to fight to get out. Someone ever said, I'll put your Halligan bar on it, rock it back and forth to get the screw heads to break. You ever try that? I did. It was a son of a bitch. It was not easy. If it's a wood door, wood screws, no problem. A metal door with metal screws, it is tough. Your best bet is to take a Halligan with a sledgehammer. Rack the Halligan bar down on the hinges and try to get those heads to shear off and then rock it back and forth. It's extremely tough. I would probably use a saw and cut it like you said. Another option, go ahead, Jeff.
What else is at the top of the door too is that arms up there, right? So now you're trying to pull the door the way the door doesn't want to move, and it doesn't do that.
Talking about the red one?
Yeah. Like there's gonna be that
Pick a K-12
that arm up there, so you're gonna have to get in there and you have to get up there and cut that because the door's not gonna come that way.
Yeah. Options here, cut the hinges, that's one. Or still won't be in, because odds are there's some type of panic hardware there. You're gonna have to cut here. You could cut the head of the bolts off itself. Go at a 45-degree angle to the carriage bolt, 45-degree angle. Take your pick of your Halligan, pound the carriage bolt through. Make a doggy door. Cut the door in half. Go in, unlock what you got from that side. All options. There's no one way. Here's showing just that. You gotta cut the carriage bolts. Go to a 45-degree. Don't come straight on. What are you gonna cut? If this is my bolt, I want to come in about a 45-degree angle, shear off the head. And hope when I go to try to force the door, it'll just open up and that whole locking mechanism will stay in place. As far as this, I don't know about you, I'm like lightning when I strike sometimes. Never at the same place twice. You gotta have some pretty good aim when you're doing this, right? You wanna get the carriage bolts? Yeah. So now, don't plan on doing the baseball swing of them. Get your spot, have someone hit you. Maybe you can puncture a hole around this enough and get those carriage bolts to fail as well.
The other thing too is if you guys got a lot of carriage bolts on your door, you can actually take a partner Husqvarna's and change your K12 from an inboard blade to an outboard blade to make it so you can almost cut flush.
You guys know what he's talking about?
Offset.
What's he talking about?
So
Okay.
on
Blades
a
offset.
K12, the K12 is a belt-driven motor. So you have your blade, and then you have the neck going back to the motor. Well, in that neck, there's a rubber belt that drives it from the motor. If you take that, you spin it back, and you can actually take the blade from sitting inside the neck to the outside of the neck, so it's an outboard motor. And it takes about 2-3 minutes to do, so it's not hard. And partner and Husqvarna say there's nothing wrong with doing that. So it's not voiding a warranty or anything like that.
I like your idea with the cordless die grinder.
Cordless, something they're starting to use.
It's really light, portable, easy to use.
You know, especially the new technology with cordless batteries, the 28 volt Milwaukee batteries are using now, but that's just because that's what we're using. They've been great compared to the old 24 volts were terrible. The new 18 volts and the 28 volts, the newer technology, they're utterly fantastic.
Lightweight,
Yep.
lasts forever.
Lithium ion battery, yeah. Unless it's a Bowen 777, it might cause it to go down. I don't know. So, battery fires. We don't know about that. We're still looking. All right. Homes, other challenges. Piece of plywood, piece of 2x4 against the door. Some type of drop bar. Really, is this one a problem for us? I know you can't see the picture all the way. How hard is it for me to get in this door in reality? What's here? Skylight, side light, center light. I can knock that out of the way. Sometimes with these doors too, when you shock it, you may get it to bounce enough that that's not latched into a groove. That's just there by friction. They put it up, get in the right spot, friction. You may get the door to bounce enough where it loosens up enough, it starts to move. That as the door comes back in and out, it fails. This thing here, nothing. But when you go to shock the door, that bottom is not moving. You know something is there. They got a 2x4 wedged against it. But is this a wood frame home? Yeah. If it is, what can I do here? Cut a hole. Beat a hole through, whatever, remove it, okay? Or go a different way, right? There's probably another entry point into this building. We had a door, it was a 2-story taxpayer. The first floor is like a mama, an Arab grocery, liquors, pretty much liquor store, let's be honest. Liquor store. And then off to the right is a set of stairs going to the second floor, up the top. Crappy place, back porches were shot, were out of place. That was our only way up initially. We started forcing the door. Remember that metal gate picture you saw earlier? It was a homemade metal enclosure. Who knows where they got it? Nothing for us to see. Well, when they were still in there working, where do they think they left their empty or unused concrete bags? Right at the base of that door. Got wet. We actually had a block of concrete at the bottom of the door. And they took a sheet of plywood, literally sideways, against the stair, all the way down so it was against the door like this. We beat and beat on this door. I almost got to the point where we were going to breach the brick wall, get in. We couldn't do the interior wall because know what they had against the interior? Big, huge refrigerator case that was mounted to the wall. It was like, no matter what we tried, we had a saw, we had a torch out, we had a hearse tool out. Pretty much, I think the companies threw a ladder up, got in, put out the fire, went back to quarters. We were probably still jerking around with this. I'm not kidding you. Because now it was like, we got to get in. What the hell is going on? Who knows what they do? Who knows? You may run in that unknown. High security ones, box locks. This is real big out in the East Coast in New York. Not something we see much by us. They're very difficult to get in. Luckily, we don't see them. Yes, sir.
Currency exchange, that's what I saw on Survey Road.
What's a currency exchange? Currency exchange is a safe. It is literally, they drop in a safe, and you go in there, and they build around it.
Ceilings?
Yeah. So those are exactly, you ever see here or see the door closed? There's like a tracking system on the floor for a little drop bar or lock in place as well. Those are tough. And currency exchange, can you cut the bulletproof glass? What happens when you cut it? You'll cut it, it melts, and what does it do again? It closes again. And one of the best articles I read on that, I think it was out of New York, they actually took their rig with a tow hook and chain, hooked the window. They tried that. I mean, they tried a torch. You're going into a safe. I mean, it's brutal. So, yes, that is a spot. Some of these things, you may be able to get a rabbit tool or something, a hearse tool in there, get these things to separate. Problem is I don't have much deflection because it's tight there, and the hinge. It's tight everywhere. So they're tough. If I know there's a latch here, though, I can maybe start cutting. Or if I can see any bolt heads, if I know I can do plunge cuts with my saws in certain spots to get it. Or you may have to do some triangle cut, an inspectional, stick a head in there or a glove and undo something. These ones are tough, okay? But what's nice about here, I like doors where I see something. It's hard to see. These are carriage bolts here and here. They're the carriage bolts that are taking that other end, that lock it in place. So on the outside, I see this. Perfect. I know where I probably got to cut with my blade to cut these things, okay? When you get a door, you see nothing, not cool. Also with these things, if you're getting nowhere with that third door, that doggy door work here, cut low, I'm on here to lock it. I don't know if you have any of this stuff. And Chad, if you remind me, I'll get you our training bulletin on it. It's actually a cool read when you're not a crapper, because what else you're going to probably read it. I get it. You guys have BPS here now? Are they coming onto your buildings?
Yes, there was one on 1400 block of 54th Ave, maybe somewhere around there. There was a house like that.
Okay. These are brutal. They're utterly brutal to get in.
Brick.
Problem is now, is they invite us to come over and train on it. And when we come over and train and they see how we get in, guess what they do? They make another change. So awesome. Thanks for letting us come in so we can be safer, so you can make your product better, so we can maybe kill a fireman. Awesome. I get why they're there.
This one goes up, down, left, and right.
This one just goes up and down pretty much on this one. There's different models and versions. There's almost 3 different versions out there now. This is called BPS. The problem is by us, there's not just BPS anymore. There's Dogs, and there's another one, I can't think of the other name. And their locking system is completely different. They can put these coverings, and there's also window coverings on every opening. Any opening. Every window, every door. Now, the question we've always had, well, if they're on a building, how the hell is a fire in there? They get in. Maybe they put them on the first floor, but not the second floor. So someone gets in, start a fire, you don't know if anyone's in there. The problem is, once we get in, our entry's delayed because we can't get in right away because of it. Ventilation's delayed. We can't even open up windows or break windows horizontally because of these things. Once you get in, you can't get out easily. There's something you really gotta be careful as they come. To get in most of these though, on the inside, when you unlock it on the inside, this lever just automatically undoes the locking mechanism on the inside. So you can go in and close yourself in and you're okay. On the outside, there's a little keypad here that you have to hit a specific code. There's like red, yellow, blue, green buttons, and it's like blue, blue, green, white, and that's the code, whatever you get in. Then you can operate this slide handle. But if you don't know that, you have no way of getting in. The best way is to cut a triangle between the hinge side and the operating handle. If you cut over here, you'll cut some of the mechanisms that you'll never get the door open. Because if you cut the sliding rods, the thing stays in place. You can't actuate it anymore.
So you cut the triangle, what are you gonna just slide your hand in?
Slide your hand in, move this lever down, unlock the door. Done. That's your best way. You gotta say something, boss, you need again? Okay. The screwed up thing is the back door. There's literally nothing on the back door. They lock them from inside, what they call a shock bolt. Luckily for us on the outside, where the shock bolt is, they put this little BPS stamp and 2 bolts. And all it is a bolt that slides in, and they tighten it with another little nut by hand to hold it in place, so the door won't. That's it, no big deal. From the outside, I can't see this. If I find what this BPS is, and I just do a little plunge cut with my saw in one spot, it cuts the bolt, the door will open. Okay. Here's a different version, variation. On these, the last option, if that triangle don't work for you, you do a whole 3rd door and you make a new door. That's a lot of cutting. The best bet always, if you can, is on the hinge side between the latch mechanism there, is cut a triangle big enough to get in, unlock the door from the inside. If you have them. If you don't, we have a pretty good training bulletin on it. I'll pass it to you guys. You want to throw it around, you guys? Take a look. Because God forbid you get caught up to them. Some of the cool things is, now with these things, with the window coverings, it's just a metal grate. It goes over the window. Off it comes some struts or some threaded rod to a brace that goes on the inside of the window jamb. But you can't see anything from the outside. The ends are kind of wrapped over. There's nothing you can see. On the inside, you either have to bend that little strut, cut it, kind of get it to go out of the way, and the metal covering could come off. What they have since done is they make quick releases now. It's held in place with a little cable and a little bracket that flips over, almost like almost like a ratchet strap type of style, where you just pull the cable tight, you flip the latch over and holds it in place. We can just unflip the latch, it loosens it up enough that you can move it out of the way. There's really no good way to explain it to you. I'll try to get them that information. If you see them, just be aware. They are tough to get in, and you're going to be a bit. This we're getting the traditional forcible entry stuff. Most important thing we're going to say here, door control. You ever hear of controlling a door? You want a door to open, and you want it to stay open, keep it that way. You want a door to shut after you force it, you shut it. Whether it's with a chain, webbing, a pipe pull, Halligan bar, or tool, hook it and close it. Have control of the door. The worst thing is if you force the door open, you break the latch side, and you blow it off the hinge side. Now things start changing, or they're delayed getting water, and I'm sitting there and everything's coming at me, right? Pop the door. Put your tool there, put something there so it won't latch again on you, but close the door. Keep that door integrity if you can. Oh, there's something there I can say, I'm sorry. Reporting delays to the officer. I don't know about you, we're kind of terrible at our job doing a 360. The chief tends to do about half of it. You know, he'll get 4, 1, and 2, or he'll get A, B, and D, but not to the C's. Relying on whoever's going to the rear, maybe get him that information. Let them know. You get that back door like we saw earlier with all that extra metal, or let them know that's there. Let them know, hey, we're going to be a bit getting in. You know, if they're expecting you to have this door open, like right now, for their secondary means of egress, for other way in, let them know if you got something out of the ordinary. Let them know what's going to take a bit. Let them know if you need extra resources. All right, bevel and concave. This is kind of what we were talking about earlier. we'll show you this stuff downstairs. Mainly I want to show you is, will both of these ways get around this door? Sure they will. But if you're not careful with this tool, it's going to dig into the jamb, right? But if I do get it around the jamb, I have all that mechanical advantage. Great. This way, it curves around the door nice and easy, gets around to the jamb, I push forward, I go in. No one's right or wrong, but know how that thing's going to go, because sometimes you may bury their forks or your heads into the jamb, and you are killing yourself. You're never going to get in. Just showing just the mechanical advantage between the two. We talked about purchase point, we talked about anywhere swing door. Tool placement. If you can, when you sound the door or use the Halligan bar, try to hold it like this on the shaft. Not that. We had one of the guys break his hand on our job. That's all that real smart scientist or theory guy. For every law or for every action, there's an equal opposite reaction, right? He did this. All the reaction went in his hand. He broke his hand. Hold it on the shaft. At least your hands will slide on the shaft. This will show out there. What's that, brother? You said shaft, didn't you? I heard you. Okay.
You said shaft.
We'll show this down there. Capturing progress. If you make progress on a door, it's always good to have a wedge or even an axe or some type of other tool there to capture your progress. There may be those doors I start to force, they start to open, and if you were to remove your tool or try to get a better purchase point, you lose the gap you already created. If you get a gap, you want to keep it there. This comes in really handy. For, terminology. Hit, stop, drive. Drive, remember those two words I showed you earlier, the neck and the crotch? Is we're starting to get our tool position. I'm telling you, hit. I'm moving again, hit. You only hit when I tell you. When I think I'm good, I'm telling you to drive. You drive to the neck. You drive to the crotch. Done. Instead of hit, hit, hit. And when I do say hit, and you want to remove the two, give a couple seconds. Because what do we tend to do is we're swinging away. You start getting a little motion, rhythm going. Plan for one or two more hits just in case before you move the tool. This is showing that compared to that. My odds of missing this way are fairly good. If I'm striking in this configuration or a band ram, I got more surface here when I'm doing that cross hit like that, less likely to slip off. Choking up on the tool. We did a class, we did it by you, remember? The guy smashed his hand on the brick and block, messed up his finger. Did he break it? Broke his finger. His hand was here. I don't need it there, okay? There's good, but I don't need it right up against the head. If you're going to choke up on the tool, that's fine, but don't choke all the way up to the head where you're going to smash your hand if you miss. Just the tip, my favorite game. You ever play that game? All right. For forcible entry. For forcible entry. Let's keep it clean. We're broadcasting live. For just the tip, if you have a very tight jam and you can't get your tool in, you may want to come off on an angle and get the tip in. If it's really, really tight, hopefully it's the next picture. If it's really, really tight, what will sometimes work, get a flathead axe or get an axe. Start with the blade, pound that in and get a purchase point, then go to your Halligan bar. All these next pictures are showing us about setting the tool and forcing the door. We can do all that downstairs. We won't waste your time. Here, if I can't get this in because it's so tight, start this way. Just another option. That, we talk about that. We'll show all that downstairs. How do we do a one-person rabbit tool operation? Piece of webbing. Tie it on it, I stand on it myself, or tie it to the height you need. Okay? Then I can operate the rabbit tool myself if I'm solo. Alright. This is the hinge thing we were talking about earlier. Good luck with that. It's a son of a bitch. I'm not kidding you. Just showing the difference of striking areas, flat or rounded. We talked about that. That's it. Okay. Not my class. Chad set it up. You got a door down there to mess with. I don't care how much you force it. I don't care who forces it. You don't want to do it. I don't care. You do what you want. But please take advantage to mess with the door with you guys. You want to try the rabbit tool? Get a rabbit tool. If we can, let's try to get the two different type of Halligan bars so you can understand what I'm talking about. If you had a choice to pick one, why the other one's a better choice. Okay, so I don't care what you use to wear forcible entry. We're going to be like this. If they want you to have helmet and gloves, or just gloves and a helmet and just clothes like that.
Just gloves.
What?
1%.
No, it's a door you can beat up, brother. Oh no, you can beat on.
You're not gonna hurt it.
You're not gonna hurt the door.
The
We're
biggest
on a
thing,
budget though, aren't we?
biggest thing is with that big red door.
What? What?
Watch your hands. Pay attention.
The only thing we had to do is fill out these CEQs of how the class went. You can do it now or wait till after we do the hands-on portion. But I know I'll never get all you guys back up here to do the hands-on portion. I just know how that goes.
Just
Lie about that?
Yes. Just lie about the whole class that it was actually good and it would help us. So I don't know what you want your guys to wear, Chad. Gloves and helmet, if that's good.
Gloves, helmet's fine.
Okay. If
Eye
we can get
protection.
both, if we can get both Halligan bars down there.
They all have Halligan bars on their rigs. They can grab.
Okay. What was your name again? Three guys. Rich Stack, STACK is one. Matt Berk. And Jeff Wanderer. Wanderer, but it's not really, it's Wanderer. Wander, Stack, Berk. Tomorrow we'll have this guy here. So I'll put his name up now.
It got changed.
Sorry?
It got changed.